What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV. We have the S22 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra in this video. I'm gonna go through a few things from photos and videos to speakers to performance. We'll talk about the design of these and other things that maybe or won't make you want to upgrade. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. And at the end, I will give you my thoughts. All right, so this is the S22 Ultra, this is the S23 Ultra. Holding these in your hand, one of the big things about these phones is the screen is a little bit flatter on the S23 Ultra versus the S22 Ultra. And you can see it and feel it. If you look at the side here, you can see like the waterfall, I feel like a little bit more. You can see it's a little bit flatter on this phone, on the S23 Ultra. And which one do I prefer? I definitely prefer a more flatter display. So for the win on holding it in your hand, I'd say the S22 Ultra, this one on the left, is probably a little bit more comfortable hold because it is curved, but I would rather have a flatter display. And that's why I like and prefer the S23 Ultra over that. The look on the back of these phones is basically identical. One of the bigger things you'll notice about this is so it's, for me, it feels like the cameras look bigger and stand out more. Maybe it's because the color of the phone I chose a little bit more, but it just based off these two colors alone, definitely prefer this purple more. It's more attractive. And overall with the flat display, it feels and looks a little bit more elegant, I think, and better looking overall. So overall looks, I'd give it to the S23 Ultra personally. Here's the bottom of these phones. I'll show the S Pens on here. S Pen experience doesn't feel really any different to me. So if that was a big selling point of having a different S Pen experience, I probably would say, don't do that. It's not gonna feel like any difference. You can see the different colors at the bottom there for the S Pens. So in that regard, the S Pens, the looks of these phones, is any of that, all that difference? Not a huge difference. I think most people probably wouldn't even notice the difference if I just gave them the phone in hand. They'd be like, oh, it's the same phone, but you can feel a little bit of a difference. And overall looks, again, I would give it to the S23 Ultra. Cameras, you get a new 200 megapixel camera system on this S23 Ultra. You also get a lower megapixel front camera versus the 40 megapixel that's on the S22 Ultra. I'm gonna show you some videos and photos that I took. This is not a super comprehensive list, but I do wanna show that to you. So let's jump into the camera comparison next. This is portrait video on the front camera of these Galaxy S23 Ultra and Galaxy S22 Ultra. Which one do you guys think looks better? Let's just turn this a little bit. Big price difference, obviously not a great trade-in value currently at the time of making this video. If you do it directly through Samsung, maybe that'll change that, but as of right now, what do you think? Now we have just regular front-facing video on here, set to 4K 30 on both phones. Nothing's different on that. How does it look? How does it sound? Does the microphone sound better on one over the other in any of these videos? Make sure you put that in the comments down below. All right, we got some video on the main camera of the back camera overall. I'm gonna, again, kind of do what I was doing before. Go in the sun, so it shows how it exposes me with the exposure level. Ooh, that sun's right in my eyes. I gotta move a little bit. Gonna move out here. I got my arms completely stretched out walking around. Does one have better video than the other? Better microphones, better stabilization? Let me know. So I'm gonna play a couple songs on here. Make sure that volume is maxed out. Yep, there you go. Maxed out on both phones. Let's try the S22 Ultra first. Overall, S23 Ultra definitely sounds better. It sounds a tad bit louder, definitely way better quality sound, more bass to it. Overall, I prefer the sound on the S23 Ultra. Let's pick another song here. Just on these kind of bassy types of music, the S22 Ultra at its loudest almost hurts my ears. This is much better sounding. Speakers are way better on the S23 Ultra. Let's hear something with some singing. Yeah, just much better sound on the 23 Ultra. Speakers, if it's a big thing to you, S23 Ultra for the win. Now, performance, you will get better benchmark scores on the S23 Ultra by a fairly wide margin overall. I'll bring up my Geekbench score that I got with it, and it won by, like I said, a pretty good margin on here. Geekbench or benchmark scores in general don't really tell the full picture of everything. It doesn't mean that you're going to get a bad experience if the score is all that different. But if you need the ultimate in performance, you know, the best of what you're going to get, go with the S23 Ultra. But unless the game or the app or whatever takes advantage of the full power of the S23 Ultra's, you know, 8 Gen 2 processor, you're not going to really notice a huge difference just in day-to-day stuff. It's going to feel very familiar all around the board when you do that. But overall, it is something to know that, you know, if performance is a big deal to you, both of these are going to run fabulous. Don't worry about that at all. The displays in general, I don't really notice much of a difference at all, and I have these more or less set to the same brightness. The brightness is basically the same, 1750 nits brightness for both of these. You get the same resolution display, same 120 hertz display. The S23 Ultra is a little bit more efficient in terms of the display, so you'll get better battery life with it, or at least you should in theory. But overall, I don't notice much of a difference at all. So if you're trying to upgrade because of a better, different display, I'd probably say don't do it. All right, so you saw pretty much everything about these phones, at least the basic stuff. The software experiences are basically the same. They both look very similar. The cameras, let's talk about that. I did feel like in photos and videos, the S23 Ultra looked sharper and clearer. I would give the win pretty easily too. You know, especially when you're taking pictures and videos of a human, to the S23 Ultra. Now, is it such a big difference that I would say you need to upgrade before that? Probably not, but there definitely is a seeable difference on there. The other things about this phone are that basically it's probably, and I've said this before, even before I got my hands on either one on this phone, as I said, it's probably not worth the upgrade, and I still wholeheartedly stand by that mantra. It's really not worth the upgrade. To spend anything more than, I would say, $200 or $300, don't do it. Now, if $200 or $300 is a lot to you, don't do it either. But if $200, $300 isn't that bad and you get a really good trade-in value, you're not locked into this big long contract or anything, sure, upgrade. But I just don't see anything really that would make me want to do it. Sure, you're going to get better benchmarks and better performance on this, but day-to-day stuff, probably 90, 95% of the time, you're not going to notice any difference at all. The displays look nearly identical on here. It's a great phone, don't get me wrong. It's the best Galaxy, it's the best Samsung phone they have. I won't doubt that one bit. It is. But at the same time, it's not enough on there to make someone need to upgrade if they have this S22 Ultra. Probably really any S21 Ultra, or maybe even an S20 Ultra. So it's like, it goes that far back. There's differences, but are they that big where you need to spend hundreds, over $500 or $1,000 to do it? Maybe not, but it's still a really great phone, don't get me wrong. I just don't think there's enough on there. What are your thoughts on there after seeing this little, comparison of the two phones? Let me know in the comments down below. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road.